In American crime history, few figures are as well known and feared as the Zodiac Killer. This unknown killer terrified Northern California in the late 1960s and early 1970s, leaving a trail of fear and mystery. His identity is still unknown, hidden behind strange letters and scary, brutal murders. The Zodiac's ability to avoid capture has made him a topic of endless interest, speculation, and fear. He admitted to killing at least 5 people but claimed many more, adding to the chilling enigma. He sent teasing letters to the press, filled with puzzles and ciphers that have confused experts for years. The Zodiac's mix of violence and smarts made him different from other serial killers of his time. He didn't just want to kill, he wanted to play a twisted game with the police and the media. Join us as we try to solve the enduring mystery of the Zodiac Killer. The case is still one of the most interesting and perplexing unsolved mysteries in American history. The Zodiac Killer was a mysterious figure who operated in the San Francisco Bay Area. He first appeared in December 1968 with the murders of high school students Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday. Despite his crimes, the Zodiac's real identity has never been confirmed. The name Zodiac comes from the letters he sent to newspapers, calling himself Zodiac. These letters often had ciphers, some of which are still unsolved. The Zodiac claimed he killed 37 people, but only 5 murders are confirmed. Despite many suspects and investigations, the Zodiac Killer's identity is still a mystery. Many theories exist, but none are proven. The Zodiac Killer remains a ghost, haunting unsolved cases. The Zodiac Killer's spree started on December 20, 1968, with the murders of Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday. The young couple was attacked on a quiet road near Vallejo. The next attack was on July 4, 1969, targeting Darlene Ferrin and Mike Mageau. The killer shot both victims multiple times. On September 27, 1969, Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard were attacked at Lake Berryessa. The last confirmed Zodiac murder was on October 11, 1969, when cab driver Paul Stine was shot in San Francisco. The Zodiac Killer's letters are some of the most famous and chilling parts of his crimes. He sent his first letter to the Vallejo Times-Herald on August 1, 1969, claiming he killed Jensen, Faraday, Ferrin, and Mageau. This letter had a cipher, which the Zodiac said would show his identity if solved, adding an eerie challenge to his already terrifying acts. Over the next few months, the Zodiac sent many letters to different newspapers, each one more puzzling and taunting than the last, creating a sense of dread. The most famous cipher, known as the 340-character cipher, has confused experts for decades, remaining unsolved for years. The Zodiac's letters were not just about ciphers, they also had scary details about his crimes and threats of more violence, making them even more terrifying. In one letter, he threatened to attack a school bus, causing widespread panic and fear in the community. The most disturbing part of the Zodiac's letters was his clear enjoyment of the fear he caused, showing his sadistic pleasure. The Zodiac's letters are a chilling reminder of his twisted mind and his desire for fame, leaving a lasting impact on all who read them. The Lake Berryessa attack. The attack at Lake Berryessa on September 27, 1969, is one of the most shocking events in the Zodiac's crimes. Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard were relaxing by the lake when a man in a creepy, hooded costume approached them. The killer tied them up with ropes he had brought, showing he planned it all. He then stabbed them many times with a big knife. After the attack, the Zodiac wrote a message on Hartnell's car door, noting the time and date and signing it with his crosshair symbol. This attack showed the Zodiac's mix of drama and violence, making him one of the scariest serial killers ever. The Paul Stine murder. On October 11, 1969, Paul Stine was murdered, marking a big step up in the Zodiac Killer's crimes. Stine, a cab driver, was shot in the head at close range in the upscale Presidio Heights area of San Francisco, a neighborhood known for its affluence and tranquility. This attack was different from the Zodiac's earlier murders, which mostly targeted young couples in quiet, secluded places, far from the bustling city. After killing Stine, The Zodiac took a piece of his shirt as a trophy and sent it to the San Francisco Chronicle with a letter claiming the crime, taunting the authorities. Witnesses saw a man wiping down the cab before walking away, but despite their observations, the killer still managed to get away. The police search was messed up by a miscommunication, as they were initially looking for an African-American man instead of a Caucasian one, which allowed the real killer to escape. The Stein murder is one of the most confusing and disturbing parts of the Zodiac case, leaving many questions unanswered to this day. The investigation. The investigation into the Zodiac killer was one of the biggest and hardest in American history. Many law enforcement agencies, like the Vallejo Police, San Francisco Police, and the FBI, worked together to catch the killer. Even with their efforts, the Zodiac avoided capture, frustrating investigators and scaring the public. One big problem was the lack of solid evidence. The Zodiac planned carefully, leaving very few clues. He used gloves and avoided detection, so there was little forensic evidence. Despite many suspects and lots of surveillance, the Zodiac stayed ahead of the police. The investigation is still open, with new leads and theories coming up all the time. The Zodiac's legacy. The Zodiac killer's crimes left a lasting impact on American culture. His actions and the investigation fascinated the public, leading to many books, movies, and documentaries. The Zodiac became a symbol of fear and mystery, with his identity and motives remaining unknown. One major impact of the Zodiac case was on the true crime genre. The mix of real-life horror and unsolved mystery inspired writers and filmmakers. The Zodiac's legacy goes beyond entertainment. His crimes led to changes in police procedures and new investigative techniques. Even today, the Zodiac killer is still a topic of great interest and speculation. Theories and speculations. Over the years, many ideas and guesses have come up about who the Zodiac killer might be. One main suspect is Arthur Lee Allen, a convicted child molester connected to the case by some evidence. Another idea points to Lawrence Kane, who was a suspect because of his criminal past and how he looked like the sketches. A newer theory involves Gary Francis Post, identified by a group called the Case Breakers. The lack of clear evidence in the passing years make it hard to prove or disprove these ideas. Despite many suspects and theories, the Zodiac killer's real identity is still unknown. The case has inspired many amateur detectives and professional investigators to keep looking for answers. Unanswered questions. The Zodiac killer case has many questions that still puzzle investigators and the public. One big question is who the killer really is. Another question is how many people the Zodiac actually killed. The Zodiac claimed 37 victims, but only 5 murders are confirmed. The meaning of the Zodiac's unsolved ciphers is still a mystery. Lastly, why did the Zodiac stop killing? The last confirmed murder was in 1969, but the Zodiac sent letters until 1974. Why the Zodiac stopped killing is still unknown, adding another mystery to his reign of terror. Conclusion. The Zodiac killer case is one of the most interesting and lasting mysteries in American crime history. Even after many years of investigation, we still don't know who the killer is, and many questions about his crimes are still unanswered. The Zodiac's mix of violence, cleverness, and mind games has made him a famous figure in true crime, both scary and fascinating. The case has greatly influenced popular culture, inspiring many books, movies, and documentaries. As we think about the Zodiac killer case, we should remember the victims and how these crimes affected their families and communities. The search for justice and answers goes on, with the hope that one day the mystery will be solved. What are your thoughts on this? Comment down below. Subscribe for more thriller crime stories.